Guys, I can't believe I can finally say this, but after all these years, they finally made the Withereds. I've been championing to make Withered merch for a long time, and now that they've finally done it, I had to come out of retirement just to review these. But that is not all. We've also got the 4-pack, which includes Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, and Mangle. All of these are characters that I'm so shocked it literally took over 10 years to get action figures of. But it finally happened. They're finally here, and they look awesome. As you can see in the back, I've got a little stand here. Every figure I open, I'm going to add to the stand, and this is going to become a decorated set by the end. Speaking of setup, this is what the current FNAF setup looks like. We got all the figures, the pops, the mystery minis, all the goodies, and we're about to add some brand new figures to the collection. So everyone and their mom probably already knows, I'm definitely the last person to tell you this, but these new figures are no longer made by Funko. These are made by Jazwares. We finally got the FNAF license, and in my opinion, oh, it's so exciting. I think we've needed a new company to make FNAF figures for a long time. I'll always miss Funko, but I think it's time for something new. Let's unbox these figures. Just kidding, I'm not opening these because I already have some of these open. That's right, before this 4-pack came out, all of these figures were individually released in their own boxes. And I bought them like a month and a half ago, and so I've had them for a while now. Which means I've had a good while to think of my thoughts, my personal opinion on these, and whether or not I think they're worth buying. The main 3 figures you get in this set are Toy Chica, Toy Bonnie, and Toy Freddy. And all 3 of them are pretty much the exact same figure. They've all got the same posability points, they've all got the same features, and they all cost the exact same amount of money when you buy them individually, which is about $9.99 at Target, which is really cheap and really good because even though these figures, I will admit, are a little bit lower quality than the Funko ones, just at least in terms of how they feel in the plastic, and they're very light, the accuracy is crazy. I mean, these straight up look exactly like the ones in the game. The paint job and everything is obviously, you know, it's par for the course for a figure this price, but the molds, I mean, this is exactly what Toy Freddy looks like. He's got all the correct proportions, he's got all the right colors, he's got the right amount of teeth, which all this stuff sounds obvious, but this is something that has always kind of been a struggle with FNAF figures. For whatever reason, they've always had inaccuracies, like too many teeth, stuff like that. And now, these are just like, yeah, that's what they look like. This is them in the game. I do think that the colors are the main thing that are a little bit off on these guys. They're not bad, but it's just the paint jobs are a little bit light. Like, I think the eyes could have been a little deeper, maybe have some darkness around them so they actually look like they're round. They're not just like flat. They're a little bit round, I guess, but they look flat to me. And as you can see, Toy Bonnie is very dark blue, which I don't think is bad, and I don't think it ruins it, but I think he could serve to be a little bit lighter blue. It's not a terrible figure or anything because of that, but it is a little bit noticeable. Now, the main gimmick of these 3 figures is that they have a jump scare feature. So if you pose their arms in sort of a grabbing pose, and then you press this button on the back, which you probably saw, they can jump scare you. And all 3 of these guys have this exact same feature. They have the button that moves their arms up and opens their mouth. It's a little bit of a weird gimmick, and it does, to be honest, remind me a little bit of like a McDonald's toy. I feel like in the early 2000s, this is what you would get at McDonald's for a FNAF movie. All that being said, I don't think that this ruins the figures in any way. The only problem that I have with this weird jump scare button is that it's linked to the arm movement, and that means that every time you want to pose one of the arms, it moves both of them. And so you have to like hold one arm down just to move the other, and it can just be kind of tedious. And then when you do press the button, if you have them in a pose, they're just gonna be kind of moving around weird. Oh, and another thing with this jump scare button, to make this mechanic work, they had to make the heads directly glued or just molded straight on to the torsos, which Doesn't ruin it in my opinion, but it still kind of sucks that you can't move the heads around. I will say I hope that they do release toy animatronic figures in the future that are more akin to the Withered ones so that you can actually move everything. I think the heads need to move in an action figure. I don't know. I just think having them face directly forward is a little bit stiff, and it's hard to put them in poses that they would actually be in the game because the animatronics are always looking around and turning their heads and performing on stage and stuff like that. And you gotta be able to move the head. One more weird thing is that Toy Bonnie comes with a tail, and for whatever reason you can take the tail off. I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, but I do find it a little strange. They're like, we can't have him turn his head, but you can take his tail off, I guess. Alright. Even with the slightly limited posability, I did my best to put these guys in the best poses I could think of. Things that they might do in games, such as Toy Chica waving on stage, Toy Bonnie kind of stalking down the hallway, and same with Toy Freddy walking down the hall or just walking in general. All three of these guys, in my opinion, are absolutely worth the purchase. For $10 each, it's a steal. They are perfect for any FNAF collection, especially because we just haven't gotten any toy animatronic figures ever. And so to finally get some and for them to be this accurate, I think is just, it's worth it. It makes it all worth it. But actually, I changed my mind. Those figures suck because they are nothing compared to the godliness of the best FNAF figure we have ever gotten, and that is the Mangle figure. If you've been living under a rock for the last 6 months and you had no idea that there was a fully posable, interchangeable, customizable Mangle figure being sold in stores right now, you need to go to Target, go to Walmart, and buy as many as you can find because this thing is amazing and I love it. I don't really know what needs to be said about this figure. It's completely posable. Any single one of these ball joints, you can take apart the limbs, reattach them in any spot that you want. You can literally build a Mangle however you would like to, and I think that is such an obvious idea for a toy, and it's crazy that it's taken this long for it to be made. And on top of that, they even included the jump scare button on Mangle. It's on the back of the head. If you press it, she can open her mouth. Now, I do think this is a little bit awkward. To really press that button, you have to hold onto the head and then push it. It's a little bit hard of a button to push. And so you can't just like push it on the back. You have to hold the figure and you're covering its face to do it. And it feels a little bit redundant, but I do think it's nice that they included it. And I will say, they even included that button on the endoskeleton head too. It's just on the bottom of the jaw. You push it back and his mouth opens. Look, I don't know what I need to say about the Mangle figure. It's crazy. It's awesome. It looks perfect. It has Mangle's foot. It has the endoskeleton foot. I find it interesting that they did this double endoskeleton foot. I don't think Mangle has that in-game, but they did it so that you can pose her on 2 feet, which is pretty cool. I use this hand piece as the third leg, and I think it looks pretty good. I will say I did pre-order a couple extra of these guys just so I can build my own Mangle figure out of a ton of pieces, which by the way only costed $9.99 at Target. $9.99 for this is insane. This thing has so much value. It's so good. Buy it right now. I'm obviously being a major bootlicker to Jazwares, but I'm telling you guys, these figures are worth the buy. They're awesome. Not sponsored. But forget about the toy animatronics because we have the most exciting thing to review, and that is the Withereds. Let's pop this guy open right now. Just to give you guys an idea of what the gimmick is with these figures, this is everything you get in the Freddy pack. You get one endoskeleton, and that's technically the only action figure included in this set. You see, this is an endo that has 2 different options for the casings you can put on top of it, which is such a brilliant idea for a FNAF figure. I can't believe it's taken this long for something like this to get made. All right, so we've got a bit of a mess brewing here, but it's gonna be worth it at the end. So let's look at the endoskeleton first. Like I said, this is technically your one action figure of the set. And what I mean by that is that it's the only one that actually has joints. It is the full body endoskeleton that goes inside the shells of these 2 characters. And right off the bat, this guy has so much more posability than the toy animatronics do. You can literally turn pretty much everything you can think of. There's even a ball joint on the waist. Once again though, the only limited posability is the head. You can turn it, but it's not on a ball joint, so it doesn't move side to side. Turning it is still better than not being able to turn it in my opinion, but Guys, we were so close. Just put these on a ball joint and these will be perfect. I'm telling you. Oh, and the endoskeleton mouth does open. It's tricky, but it clicks open about that far. Now, the only downside with this set of figures is that you have to choose between the two of which one you want to be displayed on your endoskeleton at once. You can do Classic Freddy, which is, you know, just FNAF 1 Freddy, or you can do Withered Freddy, which is Withered Freddy from FNAF 2. He's definitely the one I'm more excited for because, like I said a million times in this video, I've wanted Withered figures for a long time. But we will be going with Classic Freddy first, so let's start putting him together. So each of these pieces splits in half. It's kind of weird ripping Freddy's head down the middle like that. But then you put the pieces onto the endoskeleton and literally just clip them back together. I think that's how you put it on, right? They slip on perfectly. There you go. I'm almost done completing Freddy right here, but I wanted to quickly comment on a couple things. The first thing is that I noticed that the hands are actually just an entire separate piece with a ball joint. They do not go over the endoskeleton hands, which makes sense. These endoskeleton hands are pretty big, and to keep them accurate, they had to keep them that way. But I think you just pull that off. Yeah, okay. So you pull off the hand, and you put the Freddy one in, and you've got a Freddy arm. Same thing goes for Freddy's feet. The feet do not come apart. You just pull them off and replace them. And just like that, Freddy Fazbear is complete. The leftovers we have are the 2 endo hands and the 2 endo feet, and then obviously all the Withered Freddy pieces. But as a figure, I mean, guys, I know I've been glazing up everything in this video, especially that Mangle figure. Wow, these are really high quality. Starting off with just the posability, it's pretty much everything that the endoskeleton can do. You can move all the same pieces, you can turn the head, but you can even open his jaw, which is something that we haven't really had in FNAF figures. The giant figures could do that, and then like a couple random things could, but none of the Funko ones could ever do this. So this is, in my opinion, a very welcomed idea, and I can't wait for like nightmare animatronics and stuff like that to be able to snap their jaws open. I'm also just a massive fan of actually seeing the endoskeleton in between all of his parts. It's so cool knowing that there's an actual endo in there. You can literally see the back of the head just like you can on the model in game. And then when you open the mouth, you can see the endo mouth moving with it. That is just so crazy. I never thought we'd get something like this. By the way, this Withered Freddy and Freddy pack costed me $25 at Target, and then they costed, I think, only $20 at Walmart, so that is a exceptional deal for the quality you get here. I think my only nitpick is that you can't turn the head from side to side. You can wiggle it, but it doesn't stay there. I want to be able to pose it a little more in a ball joint, but I mean, come on, this is already really good. And I love the jaw so much. One other thing that I forgot to mention is that the eyes that are poking through the mask are actually the endoskeleton eyes. So if I take Freddy's head off and show you, those are the endoskeleton eyes. I think that is so crazy that they were able to actually line it up just like the model in game, so to the point that you can literally see the actual eyes poking through the mask. I think that's what's missing with the toy animatronics, and that's what makes the eyes look a little bit cheaper. But man, these are crazy. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure you can take the eyes out. I know you can do it with the Bonnie one. Let me see here. I was right, the eyes can come off. So you do have the option to make a completely eyeless Freddy, which is just, once again, a crazy bonus that I don't think was even necessary. They literally could have had the eyes be printed onto the face and it still would have been a good figure. But the fact that you can do like a hollow-eyed Freddy suit is crazy. Something else I thought of is that you can make the hollow suits from FNAF 3. You know, the one that's sitting outside the door in the office? You can make that, which is really cool. And this is what the eyes look like by themselves. Now, the one small downside that I did allude to before is that if you want to have both of these figures, you only have one endoskeleton. So every time you want to make one of them, you're going to have to take the other one apart, which can be kind of annoying. Luckily for me, I did buy a second set of them just so I could have both of them next to each other at once. That being said, the average person is probably only going to buy one and then have to switch them apart, which is a little bit of a downside, but I also think it's really cool for customizability because then you can like mismatch and make a slightly withered FNAF 1 Freddy or a more fixed up FNAF 2 Freddy. The possibilities are endless with these. These figures do look hilarious when you're building them though. Like, that is just objectively funny. And just like that, Withered Freddy is complete. And my goodness, he looks freaking awesome. I love this figure, man. This is awesome. Look at these withered spots. That is crazy good detail. And it's so simple. Like, it's just a mold. It's just a molded piece that's been mass produced, but it works so well. And I just love the fact that you can see the actual endoskeleton on the inside. That is just so clever. Just like regular Freddy, he's got all the exact same posability because he's literally the exact same figure with a different case on it. But, I mean, wow. Love it. Same, everything moves the same. Here is what they look like next to each other. They both have this little bit of a glossiness on them, which I will admit does diminish the look of them a tiny bit. Even regular Freddy is not supposed to look this plasticky. He's supposed to look a little bit more fabric-y. I think if they are able to add some sort of texture or just add some like dirt on him, it would be perfect. But the color doesn't ruin it for me. What I care about is the mold, and the molds are like as perfect as you can get, especially for a figure that you are taking apart and putting together however you want. All these pieces are perfect. I love the way his jaw lines up with the top jaw. It looks just like it does in game. I really do think the highlight of the withered figure is these withered spots. I mean, come on. They look awesome, and they're all over him as well. Every single angle you can see something withered, and it's just perfect. I did just realize the only thing that these Freddys didn't come with are microphones, which is usually something that a Freddy figure would have. Now let's do Bonnie. I'm just gonna speed run building both of these guys. And here we have Bonnie and Withered Bonnie. Starting off with regular Bonnie, he looks great. I will say he does look a little bit strange with the jaw. I find it weird how the teeth on the bottom kind of stick out, and there's no way to hide them in the muzzle like you can with Freddy. As you can see here, when you close his mouth, it goes up into his jaw, which is not something I don't think Freddy does, but it is something that Bonnie can do in games, so it's a little bit weird that they didn't do that with his figure. I don't think it ruins it, but I will say it makes him look a little bit off. Bonnie's eyes are also a lot deeper, and there's more room around his eyes. That's actually a really good thing, though. I think it makes him look a lot more accurate. It's crazy how good these things look, man. I mean, these are just exceptional figures. But the real star of the show is Withered Bonnie. I mean, come on. He looks great. I will admit there are a couple things on this figure that I'm not crazy about. I think that the top endoskeleton jaw should have been removable. It looks like it's a separate piece in there, and I tried my hardest to pull it out of there. It does not seem to come out, though. I do wish you could remove it, because you can remove the eyes, but I wish you could take the endoskeleton jaw off. Also for Withered Bonnie, he is missing an arm, so instead of decorating an endoskeleton arm, they have you just pull the entire endoskeleton arm out and replace it with this wire shoulder piece, which I think is really cool. I'm so glad that they didn't just make a withered arm and call it a day. They actually made it accurate. And then with Withered Bonnie's hand and foot, they have you just keep the endoskeleton piece on because, well, his endoskeleton is showing. And I think that is really clever. I don't really have many nitpicks with these two figures besides Bonnie's teeth and Withered Bonnie's endoskeleton top jaw. Nothing about these is that bad. I do think that the ears should have been posable. If you notice here, when you take the head apart, the ears actually split in half, so I don't think they'd be able to make them posable, but I wish there was a way that the ears were a separate piece that attached to the endoskeleton. I think that would have been really cool. And just the last few couple posability things with Withered Bonnie. You can move the jaw. I think it is really cool that you can have his jaw lowered like it is in game. Once again, the heads can only move from side to side in 360. They cannot move like towards the shoulders. At the end of the day, guys, all 8 of these are absolutely 100% worth the money. I do think you should pick these up if you find them in store because they're just so affordable and they're such high quality for the price. I think you should absolutely get them. If I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably say that Withered Freddy is my favorite. Just because I love the Withereds and I think he is the best looking of the 2 Withereds we've gotten. I will say that they are also making more. They're making Chica and Foxy, and these 2 are confirmed to come with Withered Chica and Withered Foxy, which is such a relief because I was a little disappointed that they only made 2 of the Withers and 2 of the classics, but no, they're making all of them. They also released this Shadow Freddy pack where the Freddy comes with a Shadow Freddy instead of a Withered Freddy. I did pre-order that, but it's not out yet, so unfortunately I couldn't review it in this video. That being said, it looks like it's literally just a recolored Withered Freddy, which is what Shadow Freddy is. All in all, guys, I love these figures. They have absolutely 100% convinced me that Jazwares knows what they're doing, and I really look forward to what they're going to make in the future. If I had to make some character requests, I would say, please do the Nightmare animatronics. I think they would look awesome in this style, as well as the Phantoms. The Phantoms don't get any love. Please do the Phantom animatronics. But that about does it for this review. Hopefully you guys got the gist. It's good to be back, but I will see you on the 25th.